please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi, a very good morning. You're watching Trading Hour. I'm Ekta Batra and with me is Surbhi as well as Nigel joining in on the show. Well, what a day it's turned out to be. Nothing less or shorter than a roller coaster in today's trading session. But at this point in time, the Nifty has recovered over 300 points from the day's low. And we have the advanced decline ratio, which is in positive terrain. The other parameter which we should throw up for you is definitely the India VIX, which has fallen over 10% at this point in time, just giving you an indication in terms of the sigh of relief that the markets are breathing at this point in time. Hi, Surbhi. Hi, Nigel.
Hi, Ekta. Hi, Nigel. And yes, it's indeed turned out to be, it could have been a manic Monday, I think, for the bulls, but we got saved just that bit. But what a ride. We're talking about, Nigel, what an 1,100-point swing on the Nifty Bank, almost 330, 400 odd points on the Nifty itself. And I guess it's perhaps now a matter of time, or at least that's how the bulls see it. We are between 0.5% to about 1% away from all-time highs on all the indices. The Nifty Bank, the Nifty, the mid-cap index. Global cues have been largely supportive. This was the big elephant in the room, and that's now out. And I guess, Nigel, the trends as of now indicate 100 plus for the BJP, and that was the best-case scenario that the market was going in with. So it's playing as per script. Whether 10,490 happens today, whether 10,500 happens today by close, we don't know. But it's a morning that's finally now gone the bulls' way, I guess.
You hit the nail on the head, actually, Surbhi. You know, the markets, they seem to have one cue that's going to come out there. They said that let the BJP win, and any which ways we're going to go towards the 10,490. That's the mark that we've been looking at. Remember, the last couple of days, we have seen short covering that played out. Today, in fact, it'll be interesting to see the institutional activity by the end of it. But very, very good day, in fact, for the bulls. We're 1,000 points up from the low point of the day, and the advanced decline ratio should come up for you on the screen. I remember when we started off trade today, the number of stocks advancing were only around 450. Now that's turned around totally. You have close to around 1,300 stocks that are advancing, and you have only around 600 stocks that are declining. So that's turned around. The crisscross lines, they're not just kissed. In fact, the advances, now they're picking up as well. If you shorted the market in the morning, you're going to be in trouble. And all those, you know, they will be really covering their positions all through the trading session. And currently, just look at that. We're just building on the gains. We started the show, we were up 80 points. Now we are up close to around 95 points. The Sensex as well is moving away. It's a good day for the bulls. Yes, absolutely. And I think it's all the sectors which are participating at this point in time. Yes, the Bank Nifty is really leading in terms of gains because the Bank Nifty, as you see, is up around 1% with the likes of ICICI Bank, which is up around close to around 2%. But the top gain on the Nifty is M&M, which is 3.5%, followed by Vedanta from the metal space, which is up 3.2%, and followed by Cipla from the pharmaceutical space, which is up 3%, and GAIL, which is following that, which is from the oil and gas space, which is up around 3%. So it just gives you a sense in terms of the type of sectors or type of stocks which are really leading in terms of market gains at this point. But Surbhi, we have some market opinion.
Oh yes, we've been speaking to a whole host of market veterans to make sense of what really lies ahead now that this big binary event is out of the way. It has gone the bulls' way with, of course, a couple of those very tense moments. But let's get you a sense from market experts on what next, whether all-time highs are just around the corner. And more importantly, can the market sustain and build on its gains now that the Gujarat verdict is behind us?
I don't see a panic. Clearly, I don't see huge withdrawals. However, the flow of money which is coming into the markets, 25,000 crore rupees per month, which is what the trend we have seen for the last few months, that might get muted a little bit. But I don't see withdrawal. And a lot of people who've been sitting on the sidelines, they may use, if there is a serious correction in the market, they may use that as a buying opportunity. What happened in Gujarat, let's say Mr. Modi ruled there for 10 years. In the first 5 years were really little painful. It was like building the foundation. And we saw the acceleration of the work really impacting Gujarat in a very positive manner in the next second term. So when out here in the center, we have had all kinds of issues, and that is why market valuations are looking so high. We have had a NPL cleanup, we have had glitches in GST, we have demonetization. Now all of this clearly will have a positive impact in due course of the time in economy as well as in the corporate profits.
This is a huge wake-up call, and I think well, I think there's not going to be, it's one state, but it's the home state. So there's clear signs of, I would say, alarm, if not panic. But having said that, I think we can't run away from the fact that this is also giving them time to regroup, because there's obviously a few things that have gone wrong. People have underestimated the resurgence of the Congress, if you will. And I think that's been the big thing. I think what will be a bigger force to reckon with is that the opposition will unite big time now. And I think that's going to be a cause for worry.
It's a great thing happening for the country at this point of time, because I think it's very important for both sides of the narrative to have equal importance in any political dialogue, any economic dialogue and so on. And so far it has been a one-way street. This is a kind of a wake-up call that there are different parts of India being affected differently, and therefore there is more than just the stock market which is going to impact the fortunes of this country. I think it's a great thing happening to this country, because it's going to do a lot of course corrections. I think that's more important. The real earning will come when the small, the medium sector, everybody starts to participate in the economy, which was the segment lagging behind for so far in favor of the corporates.
All right, then markets looking good. Various stocks and sectors doing well. Just take a look at some of these tea stocks. McLeod Russell should come up for you on the screen. That stock moves to the high point of the day. Even Jayashree Tea, I think, is moving well. But we're bothered about the index. McLeod Russell is the one we're talking about. So I think we should get that stock really up for you on the screen. The intraday chart will come up for you. But in terms of the Nifty, what you're looking at is the options data today. And what's giving you some confidence is just take a look at the 10,400 put. That's added nearly around 15 lakh shares. The premium has crashed to there. Remember, on the call as well as the put side, you had to see the premiums crashing. Why? Because the IVs will fall after a big event. So that was anyways going to be the case. For example, the Nifty is up close to around 90 points. But yet on the 10,700 call, you're not making any money. So just keep that in mind. But let's get a quick check on how technically you should approach this market. Sudarshan Sukhani joins in at this point in time. Hi, Sudarshan. How would you trade the Nifty now? If you had a long position, where would you place your stop?
Yeah, good morning again. Well, the Nifty should be traded only on the long side. The Nifty is now crossed 10,400, and that was a trading range which lasted for more than 6 weeks. So as we speak, we are breaking out of that range on the upside. And that tells us that higher levels are coming. Probably lifetime new highs should be recorded in the month of December itself. So the trade is to be long, to buy the Nifty futures, buy the Nifty bank futures, both of them, or buy calls, which means essentially be long whichever instrument you choose. Your stops are wide. At this point, they should be somewhere around 10,250. As the market progresses up, we will tighten it quickly. But the volatility is now behind us. The first 1 hour of trading was irrelevant because that was completely based on news and very rapid movements, and no trader would have actually entered that position. I'm sorry?
Sudarshan, so got your point on Sudarshan, got your point on the indices that you can still get in now, and it's not too late. Now, on the index itself, which leg is looking strongest to you in terms of stocks? Would it be the Nifty Bank constituents? Would it be Reliance? If you want to play long trades on the Nifty 50 stocks, then what would be your best picks?
Oh, the best picks in the Nifty 50 would be private sector banks, HDFC Bank, ICICI, Axis, Reliance, and IT. Although IT is not affected, but the trend in IT is very robust. So Infosys, HCL Tech, both. And then you really could be buying anything.
From the broader markets, you have a couple of picks, Sudarshan, such as Bata and Biocon. Why is that?
Well, we are looking at a market that's likely to move up. So Bata has been an outperformer. Biocon has already been at lifetime new highs, and that momentum continues. And United Spirits again is an outperformer. So if we are buying the Nifty, it's wise to focus on the mid caps for stock selection. And I'm talking about 3 outperformers which are outperforming even today and otherwise. So all of 3 are buying opportunities.
Okay. All right, Sudarshan, we're going to let you go now. Thanks very much for joining in, and we're going to be touching base with you through the day to get your strategies for what is a very important trading session for us. But let's get in some more F&O calls now. We have Rahul Shah of Motilal Oswal who's with us. Rahul, over to you. First, how did you deal with the intraday volatility that we saw in the first 1 hour of trade? And what are you telling your clients for the rest of the trading session?
I think the volatility was expected when we saw morning trends for the way the results were coming. So it was expected. But if you interestingly look at it, there was very low, thinly volume traded at the lower end of the price. So I think people were still holding onto the positions. So So that's what about the morning session. And the stocks, again, financials have been in the flavor and continue to do well. So I think in my list, IndusInd Bank is on top of my mind. So we've seen on Fridays the stocks long were added. Today also technically also stocks looks good. So I would buy IndusInd Bank future with a stop loss of 1655 and target of 1730. Second is we saw a smart rally in metal stocks today, gaining very fast today and picking up. So I think and longs are also, I feel a lot of metal stocks looks technically very strong. So in that space, JSW is my favorite. So I would buy JSW with a stop loss of 252 and target of 272. And third being from the pharma space, I think even Sun Pharma, we've seen good gains happening in the stocks. So I would buy Sun Pharma with a stop loss of 518 and target of 550.
Okay, all right, Rahul, thank you very much for that. Slightly off the highest level of the day. Maybe an ITC is developing slight cold feet, but we're nitpicking here because it is a rally that's up, and
some nervousness in terms of a heavyweight that Surbi was just talking about. ITC, that's the one that's come off a tad bit from the high point of the day. Even ONGC is seeing some bit of selling pressure, and that's why the Nifty has come off close around 15 points from the top of the day. So you pull up the intraday charts, will tell you the picture. But another stock that we're going to talk about is Bank of Maharashtra. Remember, in Friday's trading session, we were tracking it very closely. It was down close to around 15%. And for the month itself, it's trading with a cut of close to around 20% for the month of December. To understand what's going on there, we're currently joined by Mr. Ravindra P. Marathe, the MD and CEO of the company. Hi, sir. Thanks so much, sir, for stopping by. Well, you raised some money via QIP on December 12th. If you could tell us, how does this change your business and how does it change the ratios? And more importantly, was there any piece of news that came in Friday? Because the stock was seeing selling pressure all through the day.
Yep. Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, we had issued 12.27 crores of shares under the QIP, and that was listed and it was available for trading on that day of Friday when there was some selling pressure. So on account of that only, you have seen some movement there.
Okay. Mr. Marathe, can you just apprise us of what kind of interest you saw in the QIP? How much was it subscribed totally and what kind of investors came into it?
Yeah, we had issued 300 crores of our base figure was 300 with a pre-issue option of 200. So the total size was around 500. So we could mobilize 313 crores out of that. And mostly it was subscribed by the public sector banks and a couple of insurance companies.
Okay. And where do the capital ratios now stand, sir, post this QIP?
Capital ratio will be up by about 30 basis points. It was CET was 7.17 as of Q2, and the government holding out of that was 83%. Post this issue, it has come down to around 75%.
Okay.
Government holding down to 75%, and you're saying your CET was around 7%, so it's now 7.3, 30 basis points improvement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Marathe, just coming back to the kind of subscription you saw, so there was no sort of mutual funds or DIIs and FIIs who showed interest. It was mainly subscribed by other PSU banks as well as domestic insurance or government insurance companies?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. With this 300 crores that you've now raised via QIP, how much of your capital needs are met and how much do you incrementally need probably for the next 6 to 12 months?
See, we had targeted a growth of around 10% year on year. That is the credit growth I'm talking of for FY17. But as of now, our credit growth is negative by 8%. So as such, we are not in need of that much of capital, but that was our projected level. And under that projected scenario, we had estimated a requirement of around 1,800 crores. But as I told you that the growth is not there as of now, so our requirements are amply met by this 300 crores. And we are also expecting a little bit of support from the government.
You know, Mr. Marathe, isn't that very worrying? You were expecting such a big credit growth in double digits, and you're seeing a degrowth. Do you think that in the coming year, at least maybe in the next 18 months or so, you can achieve those kind of growth that you set out to do? And also, I mean, there would not be any need of capital, as you said.
See, the growth which was projected, that was at the beginning of the period, and that was based on certain uptick in the economy also. which has come in quite late. Now the industry growth which we see today is around 9%.
Can things improve from here, sir? What we are trying to understand is, can things improve from here?
Yeah, as far as my bank is concerned, definitely I can say that it will improve from here onwards, because we have been on a consolidation mode. Our entire focus has been on the recovery front and the management of the slippages, where we have achieved substantial progress as of now.
Okay, so Mr. Marathi, to take that point forward, your gross NPA levels were still elevated at the end of second quarter, 18.5%. What projection can you give us for the end of the fiscal? By end of the fiscal, where would you be? And if you could just tell us about your exposure to both the NCLT lists, number 1 and number 2, if there are any accounts there.
Yeah, let me first correct you that the second quarter did not see any elevation in the NPA numbers as well as the ratios. Both in absolute terms as well as in the ratio, it has marginally come down by around 5 basis points from 18.59% to 18.54%.
Yes,
and in
sir.
terms of absolute numbers also, over Q1 it has seen a reduction of about 200 crores. So it has plateaued, I would say. And going forward here, we will try to maintain that ratio under 18% by the end of this year.
Okay.
And as far as the NCLT is concerned, from the first list, we had about 10 accounts amounting to 4,200 crores. And in the second list, we have 12 accounts amounting to 2,500 crores.
Okay. Mr. Marathi, just before we get back to NCLT, I just had one quick question. You know, the government is going to seek a parliament nod for PSU bank recapitalization today. So I think there will be probably recap bonds between the range of 60,000 to 70,000 crores, which are going to be issued to PSU banks. Have you heard from the government on whether you would be a part of the list in terms of the PSU bank recapitalization?
No specific communication has been given to us. But what I can say here is that as far as the regulatory capital requirements are concerned, if there is any gap, definitely we will be getting the support.
All right. Final question, sir, from my end before I let you go. Any merger plans? Have you heard of anything? Is it likely that you will get merged into any other bank?
No likelihood of that as of now.
No likelihood, sir, or no comments? You're saying there's no likelihood at all?
That is my perception. I have not heard from anybody, whether from the government or any other bank, who is interested in taking us over or merging with us either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Marathi. We will end it on that note. Then thanks very much for joining in and giving us some color and clarity on the way Bank of Maharashtra is dealing with its capital requirements. There's no growth, so they don't need more money. Whatever they've raised via QIP, 300 odd crores, they're saying that's going to be good for now. The market's actually cooled off a little bit. It hasn't built on the momentum that we saw start at around 10 o'clock. There's a bit of tempering that's come through right now. In fact, if we talk about a couple of stocks, let's pull up ONGC, let's pull up BPCL, and we've been pointing out the niggling worry around ITC. So these are some of the stocks, Nigel, that are keeping a bit of, I think, tempering on the excitement.
Yeah, you know, just before we move on, on the frontline index, yes, we've come up from the high point of the day, but a lot of stocks moving around. Take a look at something like an Infibeam. The stock was flat when we started off the show. Suddenly, the stock is up more than 3%, so keep an eye out on that one. Adani Enterprises as well. There's apparently some negative news that we were talking about today. Take a look at the intraday chart over there. So clearly, it's a day for the bulls. You know, you just take a look at these intraday charts, and I know it's just a Monday, but United Breweries as well, that stock moves to the high point of the day. So select mid-cap stocks, they continue to do well. Though the headline index is, it seems, it's seeing some kind of resistance, maybe at around the 10,420s and 10,430. That's the intraday high, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. I think I take your point on Adani Enterprises. I was looking at it. It's a 12% recovery on an intraday basis that we've seen for that stock. But let's shift back to the big event today, and celebrations are galore at the BJP headquarters as BJP has retained its power in Gujarat. CNN News 18's Arundoy Mukherjee is here with us with the key takeaways from this election and the political and economic impact it has had as well.
Well, a clearer picture has finally emerged, even though Network 18 had called both the elections in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh accurately and first right here. What we now know about Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat, both states going to the BJP. Let's start with the Himachal Pradesh state first, where the BJP getting 42, the Indian National Congress getting 21. It's a big vote no for the Congress party. The electorate voting out Veerbhadra Singh after a full term. Several questions regarding corruption, of course, had surfaced as well. Anti-incumbency was a big factor as well. But this is going to be a big message for the Congress party at a time when Rahul Gandhi has taken over at the helm of affairs. A big loss, a big state has now been lost by the Congress party. What happens next? There are only a few states left where the Congress party has a government there. Let's move on to Gujarat, where several other factors have been at play, and the election results in Gujarat really give a sense of the trends and the political indicators for the months ahead, especially in the run-up to the 2019 elections. How exactly has Gujarat voted? Now, the trends are emerging slowly. Some of the factors that are going to be a worrying point for the BJP, even though they are all set to form that government in Gujarat, is the number game. The BJP, remember in 2012, in the last elections, getting 115. This time around, the BJP down to 103, as we've been reporting. So the Congress also increasing its vote share. What are some of the factors that could have been at play here? Well, most importantly, the Patidar agitation could have hurt the BJP. GST and demonetization, while in some places it has got a thumbs up for the BJP, in some places it could have made a dent in the BJP's vote bank. The big factor also, after several years of BJP rule, there was anti-incumbency. Perhaps also that gave the Congress an appetite in the voters' minds as well. But let's take you through some of the finer points that are coming out of the state of Gujarat. Again, the more crucial election out of the two states. South Gujarat remains a BJP bastion. Remember, South Gujarat is all the trading hubs, which has preferred the BJP in these elections as well. North Gujarat, this is significant. North Gujarat, where the Patidars were seen to be the main challengers in the elections, they have, however, gone with the Saffron party and not with the Congress party. However, the scenes in Saurashtra are a little different, and I'm going to take you through those details in just a bit. Another factor which was supposed to have gone in favor of the Congress party has gone against them. The Thakurs have voted with the BJP, and remember, a dozen Congress rebel candidates have also hurt the Congress's perspectives. Let's talk about the key region of Saurashtra, because that is where a lot of news points are now coming out. There has been aggressive Patel campaigning there, which has also hurt the BJP to a certain extent. This has been a BJP stronghold for the last 2 decades. 12% of the population of Gujarat is Patels. How they were going to vote was always a key factor. This region, in the first phase of elections, has given the Congress a clear edge, is what is coming out to be. So, yes, the BJP is all set to form the government in Gujarat, but the indicators for the Congress here are a little more positive. The kind of increase in vote share that they are now reporting is certainly going to be a big thumbs up for the Congress party, especially at a time when Rahul Gandhi is taking over, or at least this is how the Congress would like to project their election results in Gujarat. That yes, we may have lost, but look at the kind of numbers that we're posting. It is going to be a worrying factor for the BJP. Not a comfortable victory, something that they need to think about as well.
Keel has caught up with the Union Minister, Ravi Shankar Prasad, and she began by asking him if he feels all the rhetoric that was built up towards Pakistan and all of that, in fact, and more about the BJP victory. Let's go across.
Await my final comment when the final results are out. But because of the insistence of my friends, I'm making my observations. Be very clear. I have been campaigning myself in Gujarat. People of Gujarat trust BJP. The development they have given, and above all, the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. Don't forget one thing. Narendra Modi ji became the Prime Minister of India because of the blessings of the people of Gujarat, the way he governed. And those of my friends who thought that people are angry so as to have a different government need to rethink about their own analysis about the Gujarat result.
Mr. Prasad, since you are saying that you were on ground, you were holding press conferences, you were campaigning as well, did you see Rahul Gandhi emerge as a challenger in this election, or do you think that this election was about Narendra Modi and Narendra Modi alone?
It was about the election, about the work of BJP government, the way the people of Gujarat have seen development. See the result of Surat. See the result, we are waiting 80% likely of all the urban seats. And all this GST so-called problem allegedly was in the urban areas. That indicates the abiding trust of the people in the BJP, the record of governance, and above all, the leadership of the Prime Minister.
6th time you're returning to power. I mean, it's the consecutive victory. Do you think people of Gujarat are perhaps status quo-ish? Because that question will be asked. They do not believe in change.
That is fairly wrong. People of Gujarat are full of enterprise, of innovation, and also of change for the better for the country and Gujarat. And they know this can be realized only and only with the BJP and the Prime Minister.
All right, then, the Nifty is holding with gains, but what's outperforming in high beta, as always the case, is the metal index. The Nifty metal index is up closer around 1.5%. I think we should get that one up for you on the screen. And speaking of the metal index, let's hop across. Manisha Gupta is standing by. She's going to tell us what's transpiring in the commodity space. Manisha, over to you.
Well, thank you for that, Nigel. I've been saying that since morning, that one good news for the equity markets really would come in from the metal space itself. Remember, we did see the last week as a very positive one, and this week as well has started very firm when it comes to the metal space. But the other thing that really seems to be buzzing in the currency space clearly has been the Indian rupee. Remember, we started nearly with 1% of a decline, a steepest decline that you have seen come in for last 7 months, and we did see a 3-week lows on the currency, and this is immediately after we have touched the 3-month highs on the Indian rupee in the previous week as well. So very volatile currency moves is what we have been seeing, but you will really have to give it to the currency, because even as we have seen high inflation numbers come in last week, the current account deficit has been widening. You have seen the tax reforms are being talked about in the US markets. It also has to be with the Fed interest rate hike, but cleaning all of that, shrugging all of that apart, the rupee actually has been holding firm. You of course did see a bit of a help on that coming in from the PSU banks, who did sell dollars in the market today, but even after that the rupee has come back with a bang. The intraday low of the rupee was at around 64.74, but we have very smartly recovered from those kind of levels, up 5% for the currency in this year, and it is one of the better performing currencies. Actually, having said that, most of the Asian currencies are doing quite well at this point in time. The only lifeline that the US dollar is looking out for is that tax reform bill, which is expected to see some more progress come in this week before we head towards that long Christmas weekend and of course New Year, etc. T. Gnansekar of ComTrends now joins us to talk more about that. Gnansekar, hi. It clearly has been about the poll count, the votes counting, the way the equity markets reacted, and of course the kind of decline that we saw into the Indian rupee on the beginning of the session. How are you looking trading at the rupee today?
Well, definitely volatile, but the overall sense is that there's a lot of inflows expected, because the budget is going to be a popular budget and all that stuff. And with the inflation at fast and sort of remaining higher, most likely I think the central bank could take an approach where they will let the rupee appreciate to some extent, because that could cushion the inflation to a great extent. So I think there's a likelihood of rupee testing 6350, 6375 levels, and with this volatility, it's tough to do anything on the trading side. But I think ideally it should see an appreciating bias from there.
Point taken. What is your sense also on the metal space, because that has started the day quite well, and even for the equity markets, after we saw that very sharp declines in the metal stocks, we clearly seem to be following what's happening in the global markets now.
Absolutely. I think metals has a very clear fundamental underlying story that is clearly riding it, and with the supply issues and the robust demand that is supporting, that's going to be a front runner as far as the commodity sector is going into 2018. So a large rebalancing is also going to focus on metals. So my feeling is, most of them are still a buy on dips, and specifically nickel, zinc, and lead.